Hi, I'm Tom Wolf, fitness coach and mentor, and in this video, I want to talk to you about the motivation that takes you from a thought in your head to an action or an achievement in your life. Now, it's been said by motivational speaker and author Darren Hardy in his book, Compound Effect, that motivation in and of itself isn't enough. He gives you an illustration of something that becomes crystal clear as to how your thought process works that will drive you to an action. He gives an example. Take a 12-inch wide steel beam that's 50 feet long, lay it on the ground, and he says, okay, here's your motivation. I'm going to give you $20 if you get on that beam and you walk on that beam from start to finish, 50 feet. Well, who wouldn't take the $20 and walk that beam? That's easy, right? Anybody would hop on there, walk the 50 feet down that beam, grab the $20 and say, thank you very much. Now let's take that same beam, 12 inches wide, 50 feet long, stack it on top of a 40-story tower. Let's take two of them. One tower 50 feet apart from another tower, put the beam on top, and now he says, okay, I'll give you $20 if you'll walk across that beam now, start to finish, end to end. Who's going to do that? If you value your life, there's a good chance you're probably going to say no. If you're a daredevil or not afraid of heights, maybe you'll take the $20. Most people would say no. Okay, so now you take that same beam on top of those two 40-story tall towers and you say, this tower over here is on fire and your child is up on top of that building, and the only way for your child to be saved is for you to walk across that beam and go get him. Would you do it? Most parents would, in a heartbeat, without even thinking about it. And after they were done, they probably wouldn't even be interested in the $20 for walking across that beam. It's a totally different situation at that point once your child is at risk. A different motivation, right? So now let's take some famous athletes and talk about their careers. First of all, let's talk about Tom Brady, possibly the greatest quarterback of all time, with 5 Super Bowl rings and an amazing career, drafted in the 1999 draft, 199th, 6th round draft, passed up by every team in the league at least 5 times, and the odds of a 6th round football player ever getting into a football game is very small. After he was drafted 199th, Tom Brady, who had his entire career from high school and college been used to competing just to keep his position because of other quarterbacks that were in the mix, got so upset that he was recorded pacing around the block many times in anger and frustration, and he has used that experience as a motivator to become the great quarterback that he is today. Daniel Rudiger, high school student who had this dream to attend Notre Dame and play football, graduated from high school with poor grades, 6'5", 100 and nothing pounds, and he told everybody what his dream was and his wish was that he was going to go to Notre Dame and he was going to play football there, and everyone laughed at him. He got so tired of hearing people say that to him and laugh at him that it made him angry. And he talks about how he used that anger in a positive way. That anger drove him until that actually came to pass. There was a movie called Rudy that was made about his story actually getting on the playing field and playing in a play at his height and weight. It's an amazing story. Daniel Rudiger has used that anger throughout his life and focused and used it in a positive way to drive him to achievement. Let's talk about Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan, the greatest basketball player of all time, was cut by his high school basketball coach. He didn't even make the team. Ends up 6-time NBA Finals, 6-time NBA World Champion, 5-time NBA MVP, 14-time NBA All-Star. Michael Jordan, the greatest basketball player of all time. Do you think that that chip on his shoulder from not making his high school basketball team ever had any impact on his life? Absolutely. It drove him to become the greatest player that ever played the game. All right, so let's talk about these emotions that are involved. Darren Hardy talks about how discipline and willpower is never enough to drive somebody to achieve or to do something that's hard. When times get tough, discipline and willpower goes out the window. So Darren Hardy describes it as why power. Why power is the motivation when you identify and feel the struggle or the pain point from not having what you want and using that to drive you until you achieve what it is that you want to achieve. Why power? So when it comes to your health and your fitness level, as a fitness coach, motivation and self-discipline and willpower is a popular thing to talk about. But what I want you to understand is that if you don't identify the pain point, if it's not a big deal to you that you're out of shape or that you're overweight or that you're on a lot of prescription medications because of your health, and that doesn't bother you, you'll never get anywhere. If being the best version of yourself, if getting off of those medicines, if getting back in shape, if being able to do the things you used to be able to do is important to you and it bothers you enough that you don't have that in your life right now, that becomes your why. And once that becomes your why, that's the driving force. And when times get tough and you're in the middle of this journey, that why will drive you to get there. Like that person walking across that beam 50 feet, 40 stories up to save his child. You don't even think about what the pain is or the struggle of walking across it. You just do the thing because you have a reason. I hope this video was helpful for you. I'm Tom Wolf, helping you live the good life through health and fitness.